Tropical Storm Kristine, also known as Trami internationally, continues to near landfall in the Philippines here, and I do expect it to come on shore probably by Wednesday afternoon, a lot earlier than originally anticipated, with a wide area of convection and a very large wind field already being felt across eastern areas of Visayas, southeastern Luzon, across the Bicol region. You've already been seeing that heavy rainfall, with winds currently around this storm system at 65 kilometers per hour. But I'm going to break down in just a moment why the low level center is not really where you're seeing these high winds, but they're extending well away from that center of circulation. As this heads towards the coast, you're going to be seeing some of these rain bands, which are going to be showing those tropical storm strength winds. And as it pushes over Luzon, the winds actually may back off a bit by Thursday morning and then pick back up as we go ahead into Thursday evening over towards Friday, as the backside of this storm pushes on through. And then eventually it should tighten up as it heads over towards Hainan and into Vietnam. But you can even see here on satellite imagery, this is heading into Tuesday morning. You have that low level center just off towards the east here, which, by the way, continues to stay progressively further south than what the forecast is showing, which is why I do expect this to come on shore maybe a little bit closer to Manila, around Aurora or southern areas of Isabela. But you can see a low level center right in there. The bulk of the convection's off towards the east. This is something I've been talking about for days, is that interaction with the northeast monsoon here, or the Amihan, that cold surge that's pushing in, helping to expand that wind field off towards the west and creating those rough conditions already across parts of Samar. The heavy rain has been coming down already on Monday, heading into Tuesday morning. Catanduanes, heavy rainfall warnings have been issued at this time, and you can see here as we go ahead into Wednesday morning, we already see kind of some of the worst of the weather pushing in across northern areas of Cagayan, and eventually our storm is going to roll over the Sierra Madre Mountains by Wednesday evening. Now, just because this is tracked a little bit further towards the south, we're edging that timeline up. Instead of a landfall by Thursday morning, it's more so into Wednesday afternoon. But some of the worst weather could be about midday on Wednesday as this pushes overhead, and then we kind of get a lull for those areas near the center. But that's really by Wednesday night into Thursday morning, some of the worst weather for places like Manila, as those rain bands wrap around on the backside of our storm and it heads off here towards the west and eventually kicks off towards Hainan and to Vietnam. You're going to be wanting to watch out for a possibility of a potent typhoon coming out into your direction by the weekend. Now, that was just showing you the ECMWF. For comparison's sake, I do want to show you the GFS, which is also edging the storm system a little bit further towards the south. And you see here by Wednesday morning making that landfall with some of the worst of the weather in northern areas of Luzon by Wednesday morning. And then throughout the day on Wednesday, tracking overhead even into Thursday morning, you start to see some of that worst starting to wrap around like that for places like the NCR over towards Subic Bay as this passes directly over Pangasinan. So a little bit of a southerly track, and I think that's something we're going to have to continue to contend with. But as I go back to one of the original things I said, the center line of this storm is not the main issue. It's this overall wind field. Look at this, the cold surge interaction over towards Taiwan. You have those winds wrapping around to northern areas of Luzon, and all of this inflow coming down towards the south. So a good portion of the Philippines, not just one or two locations, but a very large swath of the country. We look at our flyover here on Wednesday. Do you hate doing your taxes? Do you struggle figuring out what the law is and money management overseas?
I wish there was an easier way.
Well, FrontrunnerFinancial.com is your choice if this falls into your category. They're an international-based group of American accountants. They're based in Manila, and they're qualified to give you the best information where you are for those international finances. I wish I had these guys when I lived in Tokyo. Each year, it was a struggle. Where I needed to put money, what I needed to do. FrontrunnerFinancial.com. Be sure to check them out and let them know we sent them your way. Will experience not only heavy rainfall, but especially here towards the south of Manila on the western coastlines, tropical storm strength conditions out to sea, which means rough surf for the ferries and anything like that. I think could be dangerous. Heavy and flooding rains, which we see here across Luzon as this passes overhead throughout the day on Wednesday, heading into Thursday morning now, just because of a little bit of advanced time speed. And I think this graphic really kind of shows it best, just showing how this storm encompasses a good portion of Philippines. But that more southerly track I've been talking about for days looks more and more likely here. We see it time and time again in these type of setups where you have that interaction with a cold surge, kind of forces our storm system to push further towards the south, and we get some of these strong winds across areas like Catanduanes, Legazpi, and you see here heavy rainfall wrapping in around for places like Subic Bay based on the latest guidance and off towards the east. So it's a large impact storm. I've said that time and time again, but I hope people are taking those words to heart, that there's a pretty large wind field here. Just take a look at satellite imagery. You got your low-level center right in here, basically due east of Catanduanes. Now watch, man, I get more and more nervous about this kind of edging further towards the south and west. I know the track currently kind of takes it out like that. In fact, you can see it here with JTWC. But I want to pay attention to the fact that this could just kind of skirt a little bit further towards the south, just off the Beat Call region, and maybe head just towards the east, passing northeast of Manila, where it comes on shore, probably around Casiguran. I would expect a landfall at this time, just based on what I'm seeing here on the current satellite imagery and kind of where this is at. Less time over the waters means there's a less of a chance of rapid intensification. I mean, even at this time, we don't have a very tight low-level center based on microwave imagery, but a lot of people are asking, could we see rapid intensification? Yeah, if this does wrap up, that is very well in the cards. We're not seeing it at this point. That's good news there. At least it's the energy is spread over a large area, so we're not seeing a tight eye form around this, which means we may not get the typhoon intensity, but it's definitely a possibility. I know you don't like hearing that, a little bit of a wishy-washy answer, but it is a possibility of this tightening up. But I think right now most of the guidance is a little bit, they're pulling this way too far north, like showing here with the GFS, that landfall off towards Cagayan. I would dare say a little bit further towards the south into the Casiguran area, where this comes on shore. But once again, it doesn't matter. I know that sounds stupid. It doesn't matter. Just because there's a large wind field around this, the low-level center, there's not going to be this inner core tight eye wall with this storm system. The energy is spread out. So don't pay too much. You always want to pay attention to that low-level center and that inner core, but don't get hung up on it too much. Pay attention to like this graphic from JTWC. I love their graphics because it shows you the extent of that wind field with tropical storm strength winds in that larger circle here, and you see how that extends across Samar, Manila, northern areas of Mindoro, and all of Luzon gets in on the tropical storm strength winds. So a shout out to JTWC for really kind of demonstrating that with that graphic and the extent of this wind field here. And I like these graphics from Metro Weather's Weatherscape because you can also see the extent of these fields as that pulls in those high winds back towards the north like that. And we still have that inflow wrapping in around the backside, even heading over towards Friday before conditions gradually improve throughout the weekend. So yeah, watching out for just all the impacts that come in with this storm system over the next few days. I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta, by the way. I don't know if I said that at the beginning. If you're new to this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. My goal is one day to get up to 100,000 subscribers, and I truly hope that we get there. It would be nice. Big shout out to everybody who supports this channel, though. Check out our Patreon, link is down below, and make sure you check out our friends at frontrunnerfinancial.com. They help support this channel, and something I wish when I worked and lived overseas I had a service like that. So yeah, just want to give them an extra shout out. Number one thing, as always, though, is stay safe out there.